In the days leading up to and following this election, there's been a lot of talk about Joe Rogan. And it's not just because of his massive platform, but because of the way he uses it, specifically to spread disinformation on behalf of Donald Trump, push election lies, and of course he let Trump come on his show and really just say whatever he wants, push conspiracy theories, make up wild claims, so wild in fact that they even shocked Rogan after the election. But just because it's ended doesn't mean Rogan, for some reason, is done pushing lies on behalf of Donald Trump. But shockingly, on his own show, he was brutally fact-checked, but not by a guest, by his own producer. And it was pretty hilarious to watch Rogan crumble as he had his election lies fact-checked. But we are going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now, before we get into the latest episode of Rogan in which he was fact-checked, I want to show a clip that just kind of demonstrates how far out of reality he is with regards to election information in this clip right here.
So, turns out voting works. It's real. As much as we thought they had it rigged, as much as we thought there was shenanigans and bullshit and it's just a puppet show and there's no way anybody could buck the system, turns out voting is still real.
At least partially.
At least if it's too big to rig.
Yes.
And clearly he was too big to rig.
Yeah.
You can tell that Rogan was really drinking the Trump Kool-Aid when he was shocked by the results of this election, that I guess we were all shocked as well that Donald Trump won and that he won the popular vote as well, a margin, by the way, that is shrinking. But to say that voting only works when your guy wins just shows how out of it these podcasters, these manosphere guys, these Trump supporting guys are, and also kind of shows just how broken our media ecosystem is, that the biggest podcast, the biggest news network, and the biggest faces in media are all conservatives who will only say that democracy actually works when their guy wins. But that is a whole nother episode. Right now, I want to get into a fact check of Rogan that happened after the election, right? We see him surprised by the truth there, but he was also surprised to get his lies fact checked. And so before we get into that, I want to check out an article that gives a bit of context to what he was lying about. Oprah Winfrey endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential race, but some social media users are saying her support came with a price. An Instagram post said that Harris's campaign spent millions in its celebrity endorsements, including $10 million for Beyonce and $2.3 million for Lizzo, which we have found no evidence to support. The post was flagged as a part of Meta's effort to combat false news and misinformation on its newsfeed. The post conflates Winfrey's endorsement with a payment to Winfrey's production company for a campaign event. The Harris campaign paid Winfrey's production company for the cost of hosting a September 19th Unite for America rally at which Winfrey interviewed Harris, but Winfrey said she did not receive a personal fee for the interview. So because MAGA is such a group of sore winners, they're trying to lie, saying that celebrities had to be paid for their endorsement of Kamala Harris, and that is exactly the lie that Rogan was fact-checked for on his show. And just watch him melt down as it was happening.
How much money did Donald Trump give you to endorse him?
$100 million.
No, he
No,
didn't.
he gave me nothing.
Gave you zero, Joe.
Gave me nothing.
He gave you zero because you thought, I think that this is what's best for the country,
Exactly.
given the two options.
I knew the resistance that it would face, but
How
I
much
think
did
it's true.
Beyonce get?
She got $10 million.
$10 million.
But hold on. She talked for like 3 minutes. That's good.
What do you mean that's good?
I mean, that's enough.
That's too much.
No, it's plenty. It's perfect.
10
It's a
million.
good deal. It's a good deal, the taxpayers' money. I mean, it's a good deal, all these people that are like donating money to the Democratic Party, and they're
It went
$20
to
million in
Beyonce.
debt.
You have to pay someone $10 million to endorse A, but then like B is doing it for free because they believe in that like idea. Which one seems more nefarious?
Bro, Eminem took 1.8.
1.8.
Is that real?
How do we know that's true?
Because I said it.
None
And
of
I
it.
read it on the internet.
I
Fuck
have
is
not
wrong with
found
you?
any evidence that supports this stuff.
I think it's
including
all legit.
some of them being asked and said I was not paid.
$5 million to Megan Thee Stallion, $3 million to Lizzo, 1.8 for
I know
Eminem,
that's in this article, but it doesn't show like where.
and $1 million for Oprah.
That could be made up.
Okay.
Yeah, it says an Instagram list.
Well, I
posted all
didn't
that.
make it up, but that's what I
love
read.
it.
So yeah, yeah.
I
trying
want
to
it to
say.
be
Okay,
real.
yeah, no problem.
I want it to be real.
Yeah.
It just says that
There's no federal records
doesn't mean it didn't
showing
happen.
campaign payments
Right.
to Eminem or Megan Thee Stallion. So when it says mostly false, like where did that rumor emanate from?
Someone put it on Instagram, and it goes around. People run wild with it because it sounds fun.
Damn. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Are
If
we
I'm wrong,
absolute-
I'm willing to, you know.
Again,
I read it and
there's
my
just-
blood boiled.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
go-
what is
Okay,
going on?
the Beyonce one is crazy.
There's no evidence that it's true. It might be true. Doesn't mean it's not. Just no current
No
evidence
current
as of
evidence.
today.
It says mostly false, but this is PolitiFact.
Yeah, it could be a rumor that got spread.
PolitiFact is sketch.
Well, if
So I wanted to play this clip just for what he said at the end. I wish it was true. He's trying to will it into existence, and I'm sure a lot of the millions of listeners to his podcast will come out thinking the same thing. They hope it was true, so it is. But it's not. And that was a big problem in this election. The podcasting space in which misinformation was pushed on behalf of conservatives, on behalf of Donald Trump specifically. And it's continuing into his administration with the lies and conspiracy theorist in chief over at HHS, potentially in RFK Jr., who is willing to put up a little bit of a facade of his conspiracies by saying that he's focused on diet and exercise and lowering the sugar content of our food when really he just wants to go after vaccines and science. It's dangerous and needs to be called out, which is exactly what Chris Hayes did in the segment that poked a little bit of fun at MAGA right here.
16 years ago, another incoming administration made health and food a key policy priority. Oh, and the right absolutely lost their mind about it.
Tonight, your America is turning into a nanny state thanks to the Obama administration's efforts to rein in the junk food industry. I like junk food. I like McDonald's. I like Wendy's. I like Burger King. I love Kentucky Fried Chicken. I love Ruth's Chris, my favorite steakhouse. Leave my salt and my McDonald's alone.
Come and pry it from my cold, dead hands. Now, a lot of those same people are suddenly, I don't know why, but all of a sudden taking those exact same ideas seriously now that they're coming from RFK Jr.
I love RFK Jr. in this position because, Greg, we should be the healthiest country in the world, but we're the sickest country in the world.
RFK Jr., to his credit, is the right person to lead this effort at HHS. Now, can America do better on issues like obesity and heart disease and strokes and diabetes? Can we get rid of chemicals and hormones in our food like Europe? You know, it is time to make America healthy again through accountability and through transparency.
Sean Hannity is now on the let's regulate food the way the Europeans do train. Okay? Now that Trump ally RFK says junk food and obesity are a problem, I guess it has the thrill of dissident knowledge pushing against the system and the liberal elites. But of course, and here's the rub really, along with some of these totally correct critiques of the status quo, the anti-system coalition that Trump has built is also full of ludicrous, delusional, dangerous ideas. In Kennedy's case, there are a lot of them.
There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective. I do believe that autism does come from vaccines.
And they get the shot that night, they have a fever 103, and they go into sleep, 3 months later, their brain is gone.
It's all like nutty and in a lot of cases just genuinely dangerous fear-mongering. They just corrupted conspiratorial thinking. And Kennedy's most disqualifying statements, the reason that him being appointed to HHS is so grave, is his views on vaccines. And I don't want to overstate the case here. Vaccines are one of the 5 greatest achievements of human civilization, bar none. In fact, we've got a pretty good recent example. Just 4 years ago, we managed to develop a vaccine in the midst of a once-in-a-century pandemic. It was the one unambiguously good achievement of Donald Trump's first term. It saved millions of lives. But the denialism of people like Robert F. Kennedy poisoned the minds of hundreds of thousands of more who could have been saved, who refused the vaccine and died. The death toll is astounding. I don't know if there's a movement with a bigger one in recent times. This is a person who should not be anywhere near a health system of any kind, certainly not in charge of the federal agency responsible for drug development and vaccines and the health of hundreds of millions of Americans. So yes, there is plenty wrong with our food and health systems in this country. There are plenty wrong with a lot of the systems in this country. And the alienation people feel from them and the curiosity they feel towards folks that say it's screwed up is well earned. But this dude, Robert Kennedy Jr., is not the person to fix it. What he's going to do is break it. And break it so that we have something worse than what we have now.
Republicans want to pretend that their support for RFK Jr. is based in a desire to make America healthy again, to cut the sugar out of our foods, to eat better, to exercise. But that's not true. If they can get people to buy into that premises for thinking that's the reason why RFK Jr. says what he does, well, then they might go along with his attacks on vaccines, his attacks on science, his attacks on expertise more broadly, because that's what this is about. If he can go after one institution, if he can say the government is corrupt because of its involvement with Big Pharma, which there certainly are great examples of that we want to point out, but maybe they can get you to believe that everything is broken completely and that only Donald Trump should be in charge of fixing it. That's what they want to do. That's the end goal. And so we have to call out all of those steps or else they win. And that is what we are going to be doing on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.